So welcome all. We're going to be starting in just a couple minutes. My name is Rade, and I'm at the LaGrasse Center here. And you may see next to me here Vladimir Yatsenko, who's also with us here. And we're hosting Joan today. So we're just going to give a couple more minutes. We've had quite a few people register, and we just want to give them time to sign in and get situated before we start. So we'll wait a few minutes here, but welcome. Welcome you to Change Point, and Joan, a very extended, warm welcome to you. We just got done with Joan's Asana Hatha Yoga course about an hour ago, so this is the second webinar she's doing today. And as I mentioned to those that came on earlier, my name is Rade, and I'm the Executive Director here at the LaGrasse Center, and I'm joined this morning by my colleague Vladimir Yatsenko. And this webinar is being sponsored by the LaGrasse Center. We are located in Fountain Inn, South Carolina. So many of you are probably from Greenville. It's pretty close. We're about a half an hour outside of Greenville, and we've got about 300 acres here, a very, very beautiful countryside. So we hope at some point, once COVID is over and we can open the retreat once again, to see you here and to be able to show you the site, the center, as well as have you join some of our sessions live. Our retreat center is founded on the integral yoga teachings of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. And if you'd like to learn more about their teachings, you can visit our website, lagrassecenter.com, which I'll be posting in the chat box shortly. Let's see, I've got some noise going. Maybe somebody's on the phone. Maybe we can mute Vladimir, those that aren't muted. So what we'll do just before I introduce Joan here, just as you're coming in, we are asking if you could kindly mute yourself. There is a small mic that you'll see at the bottom of your screen, and you just want to click on it and see a red dash going through for those of you not familiar with Zoom. And if you would like, we would love for you to show your video though, so we can see your beautiful face and make this a more personal setting. There will be opportunities to ask questions or make comments throughout this webinar, and Joan will let you know when that time comes. You can unmute yourself and ask questions, or if during the webinar you happen to have a quick comment or question, really a question that you don't want to forget, there is a little Q&A box that you'll see at the bottom of your screen. Should be right next to participants, and you just click on that, type in your question, and Joan will be able to see it, and when she pauses, read the questions that you have. So with that, I would just like to say a few words about Joan. Joan, I'm going to let you actually introduce the course, but I wanted to say a few words about you personally. Many of you probably know Joan or have attended one of her webinars. And Joan, during, well, I think it was January or February, pre-COVID, had done a couple workshops here live at the LaGrasse Center. And she is a very, very dear and special person to myself and Vladimir, as well as the LaGrasse Center, because she comes from a place that's very unique in this world of Zoom and zillions of webinars being offered and any and everything being put out there. What Joan does is that she is a very, very authentic speaker, teacher, instructor, and she comes only from a place of personal experience, and that's where she gets her wisdom and her lessons. In fact, today I'm hoping in part, because I know that this course was kind of birthed through her own experience as COVID occurred and everybody was facing kind of new personal situations, new challenges, rethinking their life and where they're at and having time to reflect. This actually prompted Joan herself to go within and reflect. And as a result of that, she developed some really, really critical tools to help her kind of orient and situate herself for the time that comes when we're through the COVID. So very, very dear instructor, very sincere, authentic. We are just so very thankful to have you, Joan. We're huge fans, as you know. So one last thing I'd like to say before turning it over is that we've asked, Joan, if she would like to, charge a modest fee for this webinar. And it was very important to her that she reach as many interested individuals as possible. So she has elected to not charge for those that register. However, if any of you are interested in making a donation of any size, you'll be receiving an email by the end of this weekend. And in that email, there'll be not only a PayPal donation button that you can feel free to make a donation should you feel inclined to, but as well, this whole session is being recorded, and we'll give you a link to the recorded session in case you want to go back and refresh or miss something in the dialogue and taking notes. So with that introduction, Joan, I would like to let you take it over.
All right. Thank you, Rod. Hey, and thank you everyone for being here today. And many of you know me as your movement coach. I know many of you quite well. So I empower you at any time to get out of your chair, lie on the floor, walk around the room, stretch and breathe, do what you need to do to be comfortable, because we know sitting at the desk is not our favorite thing. I'm a little bit locked in right this minute. And I'm in the Starship Enterprise, by the way. I'm in Monty's recording studio. So if you see the high-tech gear back there. Okay, I want to tell you a story about my glasses. This pair of glasses I got in early 2017, and they're wonderfully light as a feather. But by early 2020, my prescription was changing. I was at that point, and some of you know it, where I was having to take them off to read the fine print. So I needed new glasses. I was putting it off. And around the same time, I bought a pair of clip-on blue light blockers. I don't have them anymore. They were these big orange lenses that clipped onto these glasses to enable me to occasionally work on the computer in the evening while my body could still make melatonin so that I could sleep at night. Seemed like a great plan. What I didn't know is that little by little, the clip-ons were scratching the lenses. I didn't realize it until it got so bad that when I went in the sunlight, all I could see were smudges and scratches, and I couldn't really drive at night. By this time, we're in quarantine. I didn't want to go to the doctor. I didn't want to deal with it. I kept wearing the smudged, scratched, old prescription glasses for several months. Finally, it was time. I had to deal with it. So I went and I got my prescription, and I got these new glasses. And those of you that wear glasses will understand this feeling. When I put them on and went outside, I was amazed at the beauty in the world and the crisp lines around each leaf that I could see. I was so elated. Until a few hours later, when I got a splitting headache. My eyes and my brain were taking in all this new information, and my brain was hurting, and the glasses weren't perfectly adjusted. They were squeezing my head in the back. So it was uncomfortable, even though I had this new clarity. So I was thinking about this a month or so ago. I put back on the old glasses just to see, because they're so light, and I was appalled. They're terrible. They're far more terrible than I realized when I'd gotten so used to them. All right, last change. I want to invite you to take yourself off mute, or you can comment in the Q&A box Why do you think I told you that story?
And actually, any comments, if you can put in the chat box.
Oh, in chat. Okay. Comments
Q&A.
in chat. Comments in chat.
Perfect.
Q&A for Q. Okay. So let me know what you think is the moral of the story.
I think, Joan, it's Julie. I think it's just, everything we've been through with COVID-19. It's like, you kind of look at things with a new lens now as we're deeper into this. But change can be uncomfortable, so it can be wonderful and bright and clear. But then afterwards, it can really be overwhelming and kind of make you tired and sap your energy. So that's what I got out of it.
Yay, you got the point. Yes, and we have a couple of comments coming in. So about change and adjusting, we can get used to things that aren't good for us. Yes, we resist change sometimes. Before and after COVID, things are different. We don't realize change is good for us. Change is uncomfortable, and we choose to stay in our comfort zone. That's beautiful. Those were all great morals for that story. I think, as you said, Julie, we all experienced this kind of a shift this year. And people were saying the kinds of things that I heard Radhe say at the beginning, like kind of reevaluating my priorities. What's really important, and do I really need to be so busy, and do I really need to run around town? And people are just focusing on different things. So, and it's uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable. And also, once we see the new light, and once we wake up to a certain level of clarity, we can't go back. We can't go back. You can't unsee something once you've seen it. So that's the little intro. And this, I love to be really interactive. I'm inviting you to take yourself off mute anytime, even if I'm talking, I don't mind. Chat anytime. Oh, I do need to share my screen. So if Radhe or Vladimir could allow me to do that, that'd be great. I was going to show you some pictures.
Can you do that, Vladimir? Or do I need to do that? She is co-host. Can you do that from your?
Yeah, I got it now.
I did.
Okay, I got
perfect.
it. Okay, I think we're here. Okay. So now we'll have a fun technology question if everybody can see. And I can see, yeah, you're nodding your heads. Okay, good. So this, I almost didn't make a PowerPoint because, oh my God, I'm doing so many webinars and PowerPoints, taking them, that sometimes we get a little maxed out, right? But images are powerful, so I want to give you some images. So you're probably familiar with this expression that the Chinese word for crisis has two characters. And JFK made it kind of common knowledge in the US that the first one is danger and the second one is opportunity, because he campaigned on that in 1959. But there are some sinologists, good vocab word for the day. It's someone who's an expert in Chinese language, culture, and philosophy. They disagree. They translate this as precarious, first character, second character, change point or transition point. And as we've all discussed already, to me, that's what we're in. This year, I felt like I was on a roller coaster. I also felt a bit like a plastic bag getting blown over here and blown over there. And I was a bit in denial at the beginning of quarantine, not realizing the severity of COVID-19, as many people didn't. And I was like, this is great. I've got 2 weeks to clean my house, empty the closets, get organized. I need this every year. Then it sinks in, right? So what I realized is I wasn't as far along on the yogi path as I wanted to be. because, and I know some of you are yogis, some of you are not, but La Grace is a yoga center, and yoga is my spiritual home. I respect all traditions and the divine nature of every person, but the yoga path is we're going for that equanimity, right? The ability to be calm, centered, and aware of our true essence of being, no matter what. I felt discontent. Took me a while to name that feeling. I wasn't discontent because there was a pandemic and because there was all the things going on in this world that went on this year. I was discontent with myself. Inside, I felt I could do better. I was asking myself two big questions. What can I rely on when everything else feels uncertain? And how can I learn and grow when I want to lie on the floor and cry? Or when my body needs rest? Those of you on my email list, I've been sending out some notes about Maslow's hierarchy, and I did not put in a slide, but Maslow's hierarchy is that we have to meet our basic needs, our physical needs, food, shelter, clothing, then safety and security. We move up the ladder into self-esteem, love and harmony in relationships, and then up into self-actualization, which the Maslow's hierarchy directly correlates to the chakra system. But it's hard to be focused on these lofty goals like community service and serving our purpose in the world if we are stressed and worried about what's happening tomorrow. So that's, I think, the pull that we've all been feeling. So La Grace is founded in the lineage of Sri Aurobindo and the mother, and my path or lineage is through the Kriya Yoga system. It's all good. We're all brothers and sisters. So my Param Guru, who is my guru's guru, it's like your grandfather guru, was Paramahansa Yogananda. And he said, the yogi stands unshaken amidst the crash of breaking worlds. How can we stand unshaken when the world is falling apart? It feels like that. Some of you may watch later, you may look out your window and see the world is on fire, right? A Jivan Mukti, I'm going to be using some Sanskrit terms. This is someone who is enlightened and in the world. This is someone who has got that mastered ability to be completely 100% aware of their essence of being as a spiritual being and give a webinar or whatever else they've got to do, take out the trash that day. So I recognized this year that even though I've been on this yoga path for a long time, I wasn't really walking the talk. I was still on the roller coaster. I wasn't really putting soul peace, my essence of being, and my spiritual growth in the center of my life. And in the past, I thought I've committed to that before. And maybe I do believe it's the thing we recommit to over and over. But this year, I'm recommitting. So the yoga path is ultimately to complete liberation of consciousness. That means we are no longer restrained by the limits of our human brains, thoughts, beliefs, and small sense of ego. You may not have come here for that, though. You may have come because you just want to have a better life and get in shape. It's all good. Every single presentation I give, I put in Stephen Covey and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So if you're not a yogi and you're not going to read the Bhagavad Gita and the Yoga Sutras, read this book because he talks about a principle-centered life. So what my first question for you is today is, what needs to be in the center for you? And I'm visual, so the whole summer I've been drawing and making circles. But, what's the rock? What is the one thing that, career needs to feed into, your health needs to feed into, your family needs to feed into, your mental development needs to feed into? What needs to be at the center so that everything has this anchor? Now, the change point process I'm going to share with you, I've been tooling around with it. It works. It's worked for everything I've tried so far. So for example, if I have a fitness goal, I put that in the middle of the circle. I work the circle, which I'll teach you, and it gets me closer to that goal. If I want to work on relationships, I put that in the circle and work the circle, whatever you choose. So we'll get into the steps. I wanted to lay the groundwork. So I invite you to make a circle. If you're visual, or you can write. I want this to be something where when you finish this class in 40 minutes or so, that you have some clarity. Now, I've been working with this stuff all year, and I'm refining. Ask yourself, what is the one thing you can rely on when everything else is uncertain? It's a pretty heavy question. And I invite you to share your comment. So everyone's different kind of learner. Some people are quiet, keep to themselves. They're going to write in their journal. Some people need to say it out loud. And you can write it. So whatever affirms you, I want you to do. I'm looking in the chat. Okay, no comments yet. And these, you might not come up with your answer like instantly. Another good way to look at this question is, if you've read The One Thing, I love this book, The One Thing. These are not his exact words, Gary Keller. What is the one thing that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? So I think to myself, if I'm enlightened, that would sure make life easier. Or even if I'm 1 millimeter further on the path towards that, that would make life easier. Okay, so you're invited. You can pipe up anytime. I'm going to keep going. So I think you want to know what the steps are. Before we go there, Mariana and I have both been through a program. We have a certificate and a graduation from the Dynamic Aging Institute. And in the Dynamic Aging Institute, we learned about dynamic systems theory. And we could have a year-long course about that. Oh, and Carol Luck did that course too. I just remembered. So dynamic systems theory is that it's a dynamic universe, and there are so many variables right now. When someone goes to a protest in Portland, we see the video in Greer, South Carolina. There are that might make someone go to a protest in South Carolina. It's like there's so many variables that the old way doesn't work. Things are not so direct cause and effect anymore. There's a lot of pinballs in the machine. The old way, and I'm a kind of a self-help junkie, so I read a lot of these goal books and business books and all that stuff. And Ann Holland's a great business consultant here. She reads them too. The old way was linear. Set your goal. Go in a straight line. Get up early. Work harder and push through it. That is not working for me this year. I am highly driven. I am highly purposeful. I'm highly focused. I'm actually weirdly high on ranking strengths in those areas. And linear goal work doesn't work this year, right? It doesn't work when COVID happened, the world's on fire, and we're seeing the violence and the racial inequality in our face. So we have to approach our goal process with ahimsa, Sanskrit nonviolence, right? Kindness to yourself. So I'll be throwing these Sanskrit terms in, and I invite Vladimir to correct my pronunciation at any time. So I chose to put soul peace in the center of my circle, and I'm choosing to put that in the center of my life. So here is the change point map that I've been drawing over and over and over this year. I'm going to take you through each step. Surrender, simplify, sanctify, spark, and serve. And these words, not these exact ones, but the concepts literally just showed up for me. They came. I wrote them down. I put in some arrows. I'm not a graphic designer. They're wonky arrows, but you can come into Change Point through any of these, and you can use either any of the tools, the 5 tools, to get to your goal in the middle. They also all work with each other in any order, clockwise, counterclockwise. The moral of the story is it's all good. Use anything that works for you today. Take it, run with it. You don't have to do it like I'm showing you. What I usually work with people on is what it's inside my scope is Choose Joyful Health. It's eat well, move well, sleep well, so that you feel good and you have the energy to do what matters, which is grow yourself, personal growth, spiritual growth, and be of service in the world. So that's sort of the map I orient my mission purpose work around. Let's go into the steps. Surrender. The reason we need to surrender is because you can't solve problems by thinking about them. Here's an example. I used to be the manager of a wellness center, tennis courts, pool, staff, blah, blah, budget, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be dealing with an issue and I couldn't necessarily come up with the solution. And my staff learned to say, Joan, go take a shower. Number one, the bathroom was the only place the members didn't come ask me questions. And number two, I'd take long hot showers, a habit I've had my whole life. And I would inevitably come out of the bathroom and be like, I've got it. I know what we're going to do to solve the problem, right? So we have, some people, you take a walk, they say sleep on it. When we walk away from the problem, sometimes like, oh, this is it. So you have to surrender. Got to get out of our heads. Now, traditionally, this has a negative connotation, right? It's yielding the control to some other power, right? That's the war definition of surrender. But the spiritual definition is to yield yourself to either higher power or a bigger cause or something like that. Here's what it sounded like for me. I know I need to change, but I don't know how or what's next. Sanskrit is Vada Pranidhana. We did this in our asana class today. And again, my pronunciation, but it's really giving it up to God. We are surrendering the small sense, the ego self, the personality self. Joan, the yoga teacher who has blue eyes and eats tofu, we're surrendering all that to a greater power. Okay, I'm really at my core, I'm a individualized unit of ultimate reality. So in many cultures, we say, give it to God, let go and let God. Whatever your faith is, I hope this resonates for you, even if you never care to go into yoga philosophy or speak Sanskrit. There are more synergies between Enlightenment traditions and religions than differences when you really look. The way to find out what you need to surrender. Now, you may already have something in your mind, you need to surrender. The way to know is to look at the shoulds. And some of you participated with me in July. We did a little Facebook challenge. And the first day we let go of the shoulds. I really should go to the gym. I really should eat better. I really should work harder. I really should get up earlier. I really should read that book. Just let it go, right? Let it go. We don't find our path by beating ourselves up and doing things that we really don't want to do. Now, I wonder if anyone on here is the baseball person, because I'm looking for the source of a quote. I have it somewhere. Well, I wrote down the names, but I'm not. Anyway, there's two people I heard made this quote. One is the coach of the Tampa Bay Rays, Joe Madden. Try easier. So if any of you later, you can send me if you know. I don't really know if he said it, but try easier. That's what they say in baseball, right? Because you can't hit the ball straighter or further by gripping the bat like a death grip, right? Same in golf for you golfers. So try easier. Where in your life would it feel good to try easier? In my case, this summer, it was really with my business. I met many of you on Facebook, but you may or probably haven't noticed, but I basically couldn't put myself on social media this summer. I can't go. I can't look at it. I can't go to networking events. I'm tired of selling. I just had to take a break. I had to try easier, which is why I'm doing free seminars. So here's some questions for you. Where are you struggling? What feels hard? In what area of your life do you feel discontent? What are some of those shoulds, and where can you try easier? So I'm just going to give a moment for you to reflect, and there's no pressure to comment. If you want to, you may. It's invited. Old way, yang thinking is, well, work hard, push through it. But I think it doesn't work in a time of uncertainty and crisis. Okay. I'm going to keep going. Raise your hand if you've heard the expression less is more. Yeah. I love this. Now, I'm in my husband's music studio and it is full. It is totally full. But in the house, which is next door, it's like, I always have a pile going to the charity shop in the by the door in the back seat. I love decluttering. So my guru, he didn't like to be called that, Roy Eugene Davis, but I believe an enlightened master. He was so wise. Just this little nugget here, you could just take this away and you could put this in the center of your circle. Concentrate on essentials. So he often encouraged us to take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, write what's essential on one side, write what's non-essential and everything else, and basically scrap everything that's not essential. What is most important in your life? We're asking ourselves this question this year. What's really important? How can I put my energy there? So I already mentioned the decluttering, Marie Kondo. I'm a big fan of the life-changing magic of tidying up. This is my dream home, totally zen. So, I know some of you, let's have a high five if you cleaned the closet this quarantine. Right? Okay, good. That was a good thing. You can't build a fast race car by adding a lot of stuff to it. And a hot air balloon needs to have a really just the right weight in the basket to be able to take off. So we don't ascend Maslow's hierarchy if we got a lot of baggage. Now, Donna Kay is here. I'm going to put her on the spot. She might be driving her car or something. I'd love her to sing the Let It Go song. If she won't sing it, maybe somebody else will.
I don't have any audio.
I hear you.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Yeah.
Can you just give us one or two Let It Goes?
Is that from Frozen?
Yes.
I don't know that song.
Here, I'll get you started. Anybody else can join me. Let it go, let it go, right? So that's a beautiful part of simplifying. So the surrender phase is really the emotional recognition, acknowledgement of what needs to let go. What we need to let go of the heartstrings, let go from the shoulder, let go what's holding us back. And then the simplify step is really like physically letting go of stuff or thoughts or beliefs or scheduling things, commitments that are holding us back. I have to put my parents in every seminar I give as well because they're adorable, but also they really exemplify simple living. My father has only ever given me one piece of advice, no matter what problem I bring to him or what issues going on in my life. And he always says, keep your life simple. Keep your life simple. Bringing it back to yoga. The celibates practiced brahmacharya, right? They held in their energy. They did not disperse their energy. Now, I'm not telling you not to have sex. Sex can be a great part of your life. But I'm asking you to ask yourself, where are you leaking energy? Where are you wasting energy? Where are you wasting time? Where are you wasting mental energy, emotional energy? Those are the things we want to let go of in the simplify step. These also mirror other yogic principles. Asteya and aparigraha is not stealing or taking more than we need. Right? So for the planet, not taking more resources than we need, living a simple life that's easy footprint, practicing santosha, which is contentment with what we have in the moment. Now, the things that are on this screen are the things I needed to let go of. I'm not saying you do, but this summer, I recognized I really needed to simplify my calendar. I had accidentally signed up for like 4 different mastermind groups, and I had all these meetings, and I was going to networking meetings once a week, and social media, email on my phone. I didn't need all this stuff, right? I needed to simplify. I may come back to it. So I didn't really eliminate completely, but I minimized. So I'm not saying those things are bad, but look at what you need to simplify. Okay, we can all sing this one. Don't worry. Be happy. Yay, that's good. Let's take ourselves off mute. Let's do it. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Don't worry. Be happy. Be happy now. We can just do that. So see, any of these paths, any of the steps of change point get you there, right? Simplifying could just be and by the way, if I did have a chance to be in a room with Bonnie McFerrin at the Peace Center, and I'm going to tell you, as he was singing and he got the audience to sing, I literally had an alleluia moment, and that I felt a physical shift in my heart, like open up. He has a beautiful, if you ever have a chance, go, pay the money. So simplify step for me was also, and I have to work on this every single day. I have limiting beliefs and I have limiting thoughts right here. It's here. This is the problem. So I'm working on identifying them and doing my best to let them go. So here's for you. Make a list of essentials and not essentials. Do the line down. You don't have to do that right now, but that's a takeaway. Where are your energy leaks? What drains your energy? Activities, habits, foods, thoughts, beliefs, people. So at this point, I also identified I was eating some foods that were not so great for me at this point, that stress point of COVID. I think some of you were there too, right? So I needed to let those go. I had this habit of checking the news all the time. What's happening? What are the numbers? I had to let that go. I've cut back. And there was a few people. I had a couple conversations with others who said, I've realized I really want to simplify my socializing. When I can get back out, I want to choose a little more selectively. So you have a handout that Radhe sent you to. It has some of these questions on it. So I'm going to just check the chat. I feel like I'm talking a lot. We did all sing, which is good. Okay. So my mind, I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't remember. I don't know which question you were answering, but they're all the right answers. Maybe this is what you're putting in the center of your circle. Myself, my relationship with my higher power, my intrinsic ability to take action and move forward. Yes, high five on that one. Love the phrase try easier. Yes. Letting go feels like I'm giving up, not something I was taught to do. Thank you for sharing that, Karen, because I feel that there's a lot of probably other people on this call that would agree with you. And for me too. Now, my parents are huge role models for me. They are very hardworking. Right? And so, I grew up in a household where you didn't sit around, certainly not in the middle of the day. You certainly didn't put your feet up in the middle of the day. Now, as a yoga teacher, I'm allowed to put my feet up whenever I want. But, I had to unlearn some things and learn that I need to go with my own rhythm, and trust that. Okay, I'm going to keep going. It's already, we're going through time. I'm going to speed up just a little bit because I want to make sure we get through it all and give you time, honor your time. Now, these words, as I said, they were like a download to me, but sanctify wasn't the word that came. I moved the word to sanctify to use an English word. The word that came was sattvic. Sattvic means pure. So sanctify to me is like that, right? Make holy, purify in some way. So you, and there may be people here who speak other languages, right? You may have another word or term or just image that works for you. Sattvic in Ayurveda is typically used for diet. And this summer I was really craving just like raw food. Thank God I had a garden. I was just standing in the garden eating cucumbers and cherry tomatoes and blueberries. That's what I wanted. My body wanted that sattvic, purifying food. So we also have a term in Sanskrit, saucha, which is like cleanliness, right? So we clean the body with yoga practice, with exercise. We clean our minds with meditation, and we want to have a clean environment. And this helps us on the spiritual path. It helps us on Maslow's ladder as well. We can clean up the diet. We can clean up our bodies, as I said, with healthy movement, circulation. We need to have some practice for our mind. Doesn't have to be meditation. For you, could be prayer, journaling, could be walking, could be sitting in nature. Right? Whatever works, we have to clean the mind. One of my great guides said, you brush your teeth twice a day. What are you doing for your mind? Right? So you've got to clean your mind twice a day at least too. Sleep. Sometimes that's a challenge for some of us. But we know the brain is cleaning itself with its cerebrospinal fluid. The brain is taking its bath while we're sleeping. It's cleansing for us. Again, we talked about the people. Who are the people we want to have in our lives? I'm so grateful for all of you and for La Grace. And let's have keep the company of saints. Right? We in Spanish they say el que anda con lobos aúlla. Aúlla. The one who walks with wolves also howls. Right? And people who go through AA and stuff like that, they know you have to cut the ties, surround yourself with people that nourish you. And I put that little sun down there because nature is purifying. It's common sense, and research shows, when we're outside, the body relaxes, we breathe fresh air, we hear water, we feel the sun, all good. Take away this one image for sanctifying and purifying your life. You are a sponge. We absorb our food, we absorb our beverages, we absorb products we put on our skin, we absorb what we listen to. Quick example, I took a contract also this summer for doing some coaching in Spanish. My Spanish was a little rusty. So what did I do? Immediately, Spanish music, Spanish CDs, Spanish teacher, I was just putting it in the system so I could absorb it, right? To get it back in the flow for me. So just remember that whatever you touch, you absorb. Whether you touch it with your mind or you touch it with your body. In my experience, over time, the more we purify, the weaker the cravings get. These could be cravings for sugar or alcohol. Again, I'm not saying any of those things are bad, but we want to be mindful. We can have a whole class about dopamine. And I'd love to go on a deeper dive with you about dopamine and the brain and the things that we crave. I put this calendar image in here because I am a recovering busyness addict. Some of you are nodding. When I have a free day, I make that list. So, whatever those dopamine triggers are for us, each person has different ones. The big six are food, sex, gambling, shopping, drugs, and alcohol. Those are the big six dopamine triggers. But anyway, the more you purify your system and your input, the weaker the cravings get. And the point is, we're still working our way around the circle. All of these things help you achieve your purpose in the middle of the circle. Right? Simplify, purify, surrender. Questions for you. What purifies your thoughts? What calms your feelings? What purifies your body? And what simple switches can you make to feel more energized? And this is really a big, big piece of the work I do with wellness coaching. And I won't call you out, but someone on this call was playing video games on her phone in July, and she stopped, I think. So you can share that if you like. I'm going to take a breath, let you reflect. And I've only been looking at a few of you this whole time because I have my screen up. I'm going to just see who's still there. All right. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Interrupt me anytime. Whoop. We're almost around the circle. Spark. Now, the first word I really thought of was spontaneity, but I wanted them all to be verbs. Surrender, simplify, sanctify, spark. So those of you who are on the Marie Kondo decluttering bandwagon, you know the expression spark joy. That's how she coaches us to declutter the home. Do these spark joy? No, they're scratched. But spark is really this inner spark. And chispa is the word in Spanish. And sometimes, those of us who are multilingual, you think of a word in one language that really works better So chispa doesn't mean meditate, but it means, for example, they usually use chispa for like a child that's got a little mischief in them, right? They're a good kid, but they're kind of up to something. They're funny. They're always playing a game. So the chispa is this inner smile or this inner spark. And that's going to be different for each person. You know, what makes me feel alive and sparky is different than what makes you feel alive and sparky. The image that came to me this year was a pilot light. And I am aware of my essence of being here in my heart. That is for me where I can, I'm a kinesthetic person. So I feel here. I feel aware of my essence of being. I feel aware of my spirit. I feel aware of my identity as something bigger than the personality self. I feel aware that I am a conduit. My purpose on this earth is to be a conduit and to take in, you know, be aware of spiritual energy and push it out, right, and share. So what I ask for you, or I hope for you, is that you feel the spark inside you. And this is really the eightfold path of yoga, is to help you become aware. Right? But again, you don't need to be on the yoga path. You're on your path. But I'm inviting you to put, you know, this awareness at the center of your life and make everything work towards it. So Mariana and Carol and I, as I said, we're graduates of the Dynamic Aging Institute, and we learned deep into emergent change. We could have a year-long seminar on what emergent change is. But basically, emergent change means it's unpredictable and it's coming from inside. Or in the case of an organization or a society, it's coming from within. It's not something that is pushed down from the top. So this whole process is emergent change. This is an example because this just came to me, and then I wasn't really going to do anything with it until I had a conversation with Radhe. And she said, well, you want to present on something this fall? And I said, well, yeah, I got this little picture right here I've been working with. She said, yeah, why would we develop that? And it's coming to fruition. It's been emerging. I never, you know, said to myself, I'm going to give a talk in September about this process. So you have an emergent change of allowing that spark to come forth. So when do you feel alive? When do you feel joyful, like truly joyful, not at something exterior, but it's really in here? Do more of that. So we have to surrender and simplify and sanctify our schedule. So we make room to clean the house. So we make room to pull out the guitar, the ukulele, to dance a jig in the living room. I'm looking at Patty. That's why I had to say that. You know, whatever it is. If you're not sure, look back to what you liked to do as a kid, right? Where was that play? Where was that sense of play? When do you feel in the flow? There's books and books. Ann Holland could give us she probably has a PhD in flow. You know, when do you feel that? So here's your questions. You know, when do you lose yourself? What helps you connect to that spark? Oh, I love it. Donna says she's dropping the oars in the water and she smiles at herself in the mirror first thing every day and says, hello, inner being. I love you. I love that. We sit down, hello, inner being. I love you. That's a great morning ritual. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Good ideas. Okay. Guess what? We're almost done. Home stretch. Serve Dharma. So there are a lot of people being of service right now, right? There are people really stepping up and putting their lives at risk. They are investing their time and energy to go out and speak the truth. The teachers right now, God bless them, right? The school teachers are holding the space for our children, even if they're having to hold it here on Zoom, but they're holding the space for our children to process what they need to do and learn. So, I left this open circle because service is individual, and many of you are retired, and I, have to do certain things every day because I still have to make a paycheck for myself. When you're retired, it's different. So we really have to let that service and that Dharma come from the emergent change process. The service may not be a job. It may not be a volunteer commitment. It may be something as simple as deciding to be kind and do random acts of kindness and smile at people that day. It could be being a good family member. It could be any number of things that you decide is how you're going to serve in the world. I know we're all feeling the news right now and the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And so I just this morning at 6:30 added this quote in for today. Fight for what you believe in, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. And this is really the yoga path, right? It's or the spiritual path. It's standing up, speaking the truth, living it with ahimsa, right? With nonviolence and with peace and in the way that we interact with others. So thank you, Ruth. There have been many times in my life when I did not know how I needed to move forward. And so I've been saying a prayer for a long, long time. Please, God, that is within me, help me to use my unique gifts and talents to serve for the highest good. Please, God, that is within me, show me the way to use my gifts and talents to serve the highest good. And so if you're not sure what your way to serve is, I offer that prayer to you. And wait for emergent change, work the circle, because as you surrender, simplify, sanctify, and wait for the spark, it's not something you can force. You're going to know. And the doors open, and then you say yes. And I wrote say yes, even if it's scary, because I think that's usually how it feels. Like when something is the right yes, it's not that comfort zone that Karen mentioned earlier, right? It's like, okay, there's an opportunity for me to step up. Now, these two circles were supposed to be prettier than they are. They're supposed to be one inside the other. So what I realize is there's one more S. And it is Sangha. And this is the community. So I'm super grateful for La Grace, and I'm super grateful for each of you, because life doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? Unless you really are a renunciate monk or nun and you're in the cloisters. And we have an expression in the yoga community, it's easy to be peaceful at the ashram. It's easy to be peaceful at the ashram. The Sangha is our community that helps us have the strength to go out and carry the light, right? Carry the light. And so I know that that's what you're here for. You could have just like vegged out today, but something drew you to show up. And I don't think it was just a favor to me. Maybe a few of you, it's a favor to me, so I have an audience. But I think you came because you've been hearing about this, and there was some part of you that said, yes, I want to keep learning and growing, even though life feels hard right now. So we have our Sangha. This is, we're here to support each other. Recap. This is your circle. You put in the center what is in the center. You surrender. And this has been happening for me all year. So I'm not suggesting you're going to get it in 50 minutes, but you might. Simplify, sanctify, spark, and servant. I mean, I'm working this every day. This is my new thing. I'm working the circle every day. Okay, what do I need to let go of today? What do I need to purify? You know, what can I do to feel the spark within? What can I do to serve? And then we have the Sangha. Right? How can I reach out, be connected in my community? So my hope for you, my intention with this presentation was to give you a new perspective, put on your new glasses, and then I wanted to just share with you 2020, perfect vision, 2020, kind of cool, right? So we have this change point. It might be a little precarious. You choose what happens with the change point. There's always hope. We see even now, it feels grim sometimes, but we see even now there's hope, right? There are people stepping up and standing up and calling for change, and you can be one of them. How now, brown cow? I always love this. When I do wellness coaching, I tell people, when you sit on the fence, your butt gets sore. So if right now you have something niggling, a little spark somewhere, or I know I want to change something. I really, it really is time to get in shape. It really is time to meditate. It really is time to quit this job, even though it sounds scary, crazy to quit a job, right? It really is time for me to go do that thing. I'm telling you, your butt will feel better when you get off the fence. Next steps. This is really the first public sharing of this. It feels really epic to me, this change point, like it's changing my life. I have no idea if it is going to resonate and feel that way for you. So if it does, I'd love to just hear about it. Like if this was like so helpful to you, I'd love to hear about it. If you didn't make a flip for you, don't write to me. So I will know based on the number of emails I'm going to get. If you would like me to write a book, I've already started, but I'm going to need an editor. So send me some money. If you would like to go deeper and break these steps down with like my worksheets, which I'm making for you, let me know, because I would like to offer like a 3-week little intensive, like 21 day. We'd probably take 2 exercises a week that are not going to give you more to do, because it's about simplifying. It's more like this work. It's mind and heart work. It's not like big time consuming work. So if you would like to join that, I'm looking at October 1st through the 21st or something like that, right? First 3 weeks of October. And it would be donation. So like if you have $1 million, I would take it. And if you have one, I would take it. And if you have none, I would love for you to do it and just give me feedback and like run the process with me. So that's the invite. All of you know how to find me. And I'm going to come off of this so I can see your faces. And then I'm going to be quiet. That's it. You can talk or you can not talk.
Joan, this is Mariana.
Hi.
Hi, I really enjoyed the whole concept and you working to put this together for us. And yeah, are you going to send us the slides? or at least the circle?
Well, you'll get this. I'll send you a circle. I actually have the circle in a little document I can send you.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you can draw your own too.
Right.
I think it's
Yours
good.
is so pretty.
Yeah.
And
PowerPoint.
we'll also be sending out the recorded session to everybody that registered, so you can also re-listen to this. It's very wonderful talk, Joan. And I don't know if you've looked at chat, but you've got one compliment
good.
coming in after
Here
another.
they come.
Absolutely.
Good. Turn your
wonderful.
scary into excitedly nervous. Yes. I came because you inspire me. Oh, that's sweet. Okay. And I quit my part-time job. Yep. Donna, I have no idea what's next, but I'm excited. Leap of faith. There's a book, Jump and Your Life Will Appear. And I have done that many times, and I'm scared every time I jump, but I keep jumping.
I'll have to get that.
Yeah.
I just wrote that down. Excellent.
Yeah. Great. So we can just you can stay in touch and holler if you have any questions. And I'm not running. We have time now if anybody has any questions or comments.
I'm going to leave so I can work on my camera situation, because apparently I couldn't change the settings while I was doing this. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we're glad you were here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Monty's coming to Charleston.
Yeah, we're
Okay, good. Oh, Kathy is making a comment. Could I speak a little more about... Oh, shoot. I can't see the last couple comments the way my...
Emergent. Could you speak a little more about Emergent?
Yeah, Emergent Change. I actually had that in my notes, and I didn't stop and look at them. Let me find that.
And while you're doing that, I'll read maybe the other one that you didn't see here that shows up. This is from Julie or Julia. I never met you in person, Joan, but I admire you and have learned so much from you. Thank you.
Yay! Thanks, Julie. Emergent Change. I didn't bring the notes. Actually, they're in the PowerPoint. But Emergent Change it's used in like organizational development. So Anne may be able to speak to it better than me even, but I learned about it from someone who's like a PhD in psychology and organizational development. And this person worked in, corporations. So if you have what's called a planned change, planned change is like a company is going to make a change. So they communicate it, and it's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and it's, a linear process. And emergent change is more you are adapting to what is happening and emerging in the moment. So it comes really from nature, right? Emergent change. So that's really why I thought for this year, it's emergent change. God knows what's happening later today, tomorrow. It's changing so fast. And we don't know. Organic change is a great way to explain it. Thank you, Anne. It's more flexible, it's less rigid, and that's why I like this circle, because any given day I can land on that circle. Okay, what needs to happen today to get me to that soul peace? And so I've got, believe it or not, another session after this, but somewhere there's going to be a walk. Because that needs to happen today to balance out all this Zooming. So that's emergent change. If I'd made a list yesterday, I might need to change. Oh, no, I got to change the plan because this is what I need in the moment. Yeah. But you can just Google emergent change and you'll see about it.
It also seems to me, Joan, what comes to mind as you speak about that is oftentimes, by having plans well laid out for the next day, week, year, and goals, we're really blocking out other opportunities that may spring up, right? So this emergent is just being, to me, what it's saying, it's just be open to what else may be out there and not to close in or lock yourself into something that, a pattern, a routine that feels very comfortable. So.
I think that was a really great explanation. I agree 100%. And also that planned change and emergent change are not exclusive. So it's not that I don't still set goals and make a plan for the week. I mean, I'm a big list maker, and we could talk about dopamine there. It's check. You get it? But I'm still am moving forward, and even in the middle of all this, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just start writing this book, and but I'm waiting for things to emerge too. Great. Well, thank you. Thanks everybody. This is how you clap in sign language. On Zoom. I learned that this year. So,
Thank you,
everyone.
Joan. It was just absolutely wonderful. We're just so appreciative.
Peace. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you.
Peace. And how is my pronunciation, Vladimir?
Great.
Okay, good. You didn't pipe in and correct me. So if anyone needs a Sanskrit scholar, it's right there.
Among other things, too.
Among many other things, right? That's just one thing, right?
Okay, thank you all.
Please stay in touch with La Grasse and participate in their wonderful things. And we can't wait to just be there. It's going to be wonderful. So,
be lovely to meet you all in person.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Namaste.
Peace. All right.
Joan.
Bye.